Okay, welcome to today's live trading London to New York crossover using the Harmonic scanner. So let me just start sharing. Hello, Les, nice to see you.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Not fine.
Good. So let's get started. I haven't been in a lot this morning. I'm just going to whiz through. Let's start with Forex Factory. And remember, if you're in the 7-day trial group, hope you're having a great week. Certainly seem to be good, consistent success, which you will have if you stick with the BYOB and the 3 confirmations and really get that down pat before you extend out into other strategies. And you will see a lot of help, a lot of live trading throughout the day, something for every time zone. And the chat group, the Ninja Hub chat, extremely important that you keep an eye on that and attend the live sessions, make notes about what you're doing. And when you join, you'll come and be welcomed into our Ninja trade group, which has been 3 years in the making. You'll have the wonderful IM dot center where you'll find all your strategies, Vibrata, which is the one we use for BYOB, and a wonderful academy. You can work your way, sorry, dog's decided to whine. Work your way through the Academy Units Section 1 for all the basics. So just have a look, 4 p.m. we've got, that's my time, so that's 3 p.m. UK, I'm on Paris time. We've got USD news, so that's just at the end of my session and the start of Sharon. She'll be on after me. If you could mute yourself out, please, I'd be very grateful. So let's just start having a look at some of the pairs. I wasn't in this morning, but some of my other team members were. This was EuroCAD for a buy, and it hit quarter theory, which is a very strong line of support and resistance. And I think that was at about that's back. That was back doing something else. So it was this morning at that's on the 15-minute. It was this morning at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. There we are, and it went up to quarter theory. So I was on late. I had something else I was doing, but it was off the pitchfork. It got above the 62. It went up to quarter theory. If it had cleared that point, then it would have been perfect for what we call a stack-in trade, but you could have taken the trade up to there, keep an eye on it there, and then on up to there. So we were all well aware of that and got out, or those that were in it got out somewhere around about there. So you can see from the green pitchforks, I use the Harmonic scanner. I'll just show you one of them because then you know what I'm on about. Now the Harmonic scanner, this pitchfork is actually coming off an older one back here. And yesterday was pretty fast, very good day yesterday. So this is coming off this scan, not even that one, further back. So don't worry about looking at, you know, all these colors. It's just to show you. Oh, it's quite a way back. They're valid forever once you've drawn them accurately. It's coming off this one, which was a D point in August. I can't even work out how many days ago that is. A lot. That would be like, I don't know, 6 months, 180 days old. Now, the thing about harmonic scans is they've got Fibonacci built into them. They are 5 Fibonacci key reversal points in the market, and that's what they're showing you. And the pitchfork also has Fibonacci built in, which is what makes it so powerful. And I keep promising to do a short video on how to connect the dots, draw the harmonic scanner onto your trading view. If you've got the free version, I do recommend that you put on your BYOB, which is the SAR flip, the exclusive to our team, the Ninjacator with Bollinger Bands, which Kevin designed for us, and the Stochastic. If you've got the paid version, then you can add on some others. But those are the three that you will need to concern yourself with if you are in the trial group this week. So here we are on the 15 minutes, which is where I look for my chart setups. And I'll just take it up there. So I've put the alert there. We know it's a downward scan. We've got quarter theory coming up at CAD is in play, CAD's in session. So that's a relevant one. There's 10 pips from here down to quarter theory. This was a buy that I was in yesterday, which was one of the ones that I did on the, no, I didn't. That's one I did. I wanted to keep that because I wanted to, I thought I'd hidden them all. Sorry. Oh, I have hidden it. Let me just get that out of the way. Don't want to be distracted. So I like to go over, I like to back test so I can see how I can improve entries and exits. If something went wrong, what went wrong? If something went right, sort of make a note of it. So you do need to print off your BYOB trade sheet. Make sure you fill that in and put notes on it. It's extremely important that you get a feel for what you're doing. So on the 15 minutes, we've still got the 62. That's similar. I'll put the Ninjacator on, similar to the 50 on the Bollinger Bands. I just happen to use the 62. And if it crosses, if it's above the 15 minutes, this is this blue one, this is moving average price over 62 days, then I know it's generally in a buy mode, and if it's crossing below, then it's in a sell mode, and that's just one confirmation. But you can see it's at the pitchfork level, which is why I've set the trend line. Now I go down to the 1 minute just for my entries, a precise entry. But the tip I learned just last night is that we're going to start looking at the 5 or the 15 minute for when we're keeping an eye on the trade, something that Chance said, not just the 1 minute. So I'm going to change to that. So you can see on the 1 minute that the 62 has now crossed into sell mode. We've got a retouch on the 62, so it's not liking going above that, and it's now come down below the pitchfork. So that's all very good for, I'm going to put the Ninjacator on now, all very good for a sell. So these are the steps you follow every time you take a BYOB trade. Number 1, change to Heikin-Ashi. And I can absolutely assure you, I'm one of the most simplest, non-mathematical, average students. I went to Polytechnic, not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know, I mean, just a really average person approaching pensionable age, and I've managed to master this. And if I can, you can too. And I know people always say that, but it's or a lot of ordinary people doing this. It's not maths. All the heavy lifting's done for you, particularly with Kevin doing the Ninjacator for us. So you want to have on your, and once you dive into the charts, it's actually great fun. It's like a lot of professional gamers are now full-time Forex traders, and they also have their gaming on another computer at the side. And while the trade's playing out, they'll do their gaming as well. So it's, you know, it's a very fun online activity. So you can see it's in the extreme down here. So on the 5 minutes, it's saying it's been oversold and it wants to go up for a buy. But we know from the things we've been saying that it's in sell mode. So how do you reconcile the two? Well, you look at, well, let's put, I've got the stochastic on, you want the other one you want on, second indicator. So you've got your candles changed up there. It's the SAR flip, and you can see it's leveled out there. And then we want to put the Ninjacator on. So if you're getting confused and you think that it's telling you conflicting things, that could be to do with time frames. I'm an intraday scalper, so I like short time frames, and some people like to look at what we call confluence, which means they've got the same indications of the movement of price over the 15-minute, 1 hourly, and say 4 hourly before they'll take a trade. So it's a personal choice, or you can just stay within the moment, within the trade, and look at the 5 minute or the 15-minute, and that will reduce your number of pips, but you'll be in and out of a trade probably quicker. I'm using the 1 minute for a precise entry, but that doesn't mean to say I'm only going for 5 pips. I'm only using that to get a precise entry point, which enables me to get a smaller stop loss. So we've had a SAR flip on the 5-minute, which correlates. And please feel free to unmute yourself and talk or chat, and I'll check the chat. I really don't mind being asked questions. It's no problem at all. So we just look at the 15-minute, because it has said sell, but the SAR's flip. Now on the 15-minute, it said sell, but you're right down at the bottom, but you have, and you're outside the Bollinger Bands. So it is at a pitchfork level. So on this one, it could be that it's rejecting off the pitchfork. Sorry, because it's got the, yeah. So it might not, in fact, it probably won't go down to that. If it's stalling out here on the pitchfork, it's saying indeed it is turning. So it's outside the Bollinger Bands, 62 on the 15 minutes, but you want to be looking at the 1 minute. The 1 minute gives you the real time, what's happening now. It's like the storm on the ocean, and this is the ripple of the waves coming out from that. So I probably wouldn't now be taking this for a sell, because I can see it stalling at the pitchfork. So you might want to look at that for, we'll just go back to the 15 minute. I'm not going to go up to the hourly because I don't do hourlies. So it's flipped on the 5 minute. The sell hasn't flipped, but the SAR has flipped, and you can see it's in the extreme. So I think it's stalling at the pitchfork, and it's trading. Price will always move between levels. You've got a pitchfork running almost parallel to quarter theory, so double line of support or resistance. So it's probably trading in this zone at the moment. So look at that for a buy, not a sell. I don't think it's going to go down to quarter theory. So that's how you make your decisions on things. I had thought, oh, there's a few pips down to quarter theory. We check everything with our indicator. We have a look at trend lines, pointy bits, as we call it in the BYOB. And pointy bits are lines of where price has been before. Look left to see what's going to happen right. And we can see it stalling out. So I'll put EuroCAD down as a buy, but look for the volume on the candles. There's low volume now, low volume at the moment. It might pick up later in Sharon's session. So a buy when you've got a SAR flip, but look for more volumes on the candle. Okay, so that's EuroCAD. Let's just close that one, help speed up the computer. So this one is GBP USD. Now I had this as a sell this morning. I posted it in my group. I'm sorry I didn't do any other posting anywhere else, but I will do watch lists, like we're all doing the live traders after this call. So you can see it did go down to quarter theory, and let's have a look, see what's happening with it now. So it's let's go back to the 15 minute. So the thing about this is it's come right out of the current scan that I've got, and it's I think it'll probably want to be pinged back into the extensions. I always think of extensions as a bit like Bollinger Bands. It's a boomerang. It wants to ping price back into the scan. Sometimes it doesn't. It drops off the face of the earth, and I've got a very pale green line there. It's just a trend line, which might say that price wants to fall more. So it could well fall more. I don't know. I haven't got this. I haven't got this marked up anymore. So it's not one that I would be taking at the moment because I'm waiting for it to. That's from yesterday, I think. I'll just get rid of those, clean it up a bit. So we've still got price in selling mode. It is in the extensions, and until it comes back up to here, I'm on the 1 minute. So what I do is put the alert on like this. And come back to it when it decides. Sorry, it's just loading. But I don't know, the GBP might decide it wants to drop more before the end of the week. Who knows? It could well do. So I just pop that there. I always put, and I suggest you do, have different colors, different codes for each line that you're drawing on, whatever it is, then you won't get confused. So I'll just add an alert there. It's not high Kanashi, but that doesn't matter. A bit slow, just get rid of that and just put back into extension, something like that. So when it pings, I know what to come back and look at. So nothing there on, but let's have a quick look, as it's a USD currency on the 5-minute on the indicator. It is on high Kanashi. And let's see if an indicator gives us anything. SARS on, and your stochastic on. Let's pull that up. So it's nearing the bottom on the 5 minutes, saying it wants to turn, and it's in the purple box, so it's not saying it's oversold. And you can see also that the range has shortened in the purple box, so that means it's kind of going, as you can see here, into squiggly mode, you know, consolidation. So it's slowed, so it might pick up as the New York session gets into another hour or so. The key movements in New York, UK time, 1 to 3 p.m., that kind of zone really. And we'll have a look just lastly on the 15-minute, and we'll put the indicator on here. You can see it's not been outside in the extreme. Now some traders do take trades when it's in the purple box. It just depends on how confident you are with your confirmations. And that indeed is saying buy on the 15-minute. There was a flat bottom candle there, but these are pitchforks with Fibonacci, remember, and you've still got the 62 below the 15. So you know, it does have to fight its way up a bit. And then you've got quarter theory there. So I'll probably, I know I've put that there, I'll probably move that, having seen this, although I'm moving it on the 15-minute, but I'll correct it later. So I like the look of this. If it comes back into this scan for a buy, GUSD to buy, but for me, not until it's up to 1.30500, which is quarter theory, plus it's come back into the extension, back onto the D point of the scan. So that's GBP USD, possible buy.
Sarah, I have put on the chat that there is some red flag news for USD at 3 o'clock.
Oh yes, yes. Thanks very much, Debs. I did get that. I did get that at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers, mate.
No problem.
I'll just come off. That could be why it's stalling out at the moment. Then, so thanks for that, Debbie, for that reminder. So we wouldn't want to be trading USD. Coming up to that at 3 o'clock. I totally agree. Don't trade on news unless you've learned a new strategy, which is a bit hot to trot until you've you know, an hour either side till the market settles down. So on GBP CAD, this is a downward scan, and the 62 is now coming down below quarter theory. I've set the alert here because I was looking at it earlier on. Excuse me, but I was waiting for it to see what it would do at this. I don't usually get into trades once they've come down. I don't usually get into them just off quarter theory. We'll put the indicator on to see what that's doing. So let's put our SARS on, change the candle, see how easy it is to do. You know, I think a lot of people can overcomplicate trading, but it's more a question of learning to love the charts and finding it fun and diving in and really getting to know them. You know, I really think it's about that, because I do remember back, it took me ages to really enjoy them. And I just looked at them and thought, I just don't know if I can get into this. So it's a bit like taking up a sport or something, isn't it? The more you get into it, the more you actually like it and look forward to your sessions. you want to have the 80 and the 20 showing. There we are. So at the moment we can see prices coming into the extreme on the 15-minute. It's not making a lot of movement there. It might warm up a bit later. Let's put our indicator on. So we did have a SAR flip up there, as you can see, which correlates with that, although it wasn't in the extreme. Preferably, we like it outside the purple box to say it's been overbought, but that correlates with it coming off quarter theory, and it's come down to this pitchfork there, and I set the alert here. Can't remember why I thought of that. Maybe because of where price was when I last looked at it before coming live. But you can see you've got very wicky candles, which means price is sort of dithering around, low volume. It's not filling all the orders. So at the moment, it's not ready to turn. But I'll have a look at the 5-minute in a minute. But you can see how close it's near the edge of the Bollinger Bands, and it's near to that quarter theory. So I'll have a look at the 5-minute, see what it looks like on there. On there, it's turned, but again, the range is shorter. I mean, I do think the markets are warming up. They're getting back to life after Christmas, but you know, maybe there's still patches of slowness in there. So it's not in the extreme there on the 5-minute. It hasn't flipped to the buy, but the price has actually, excuse me, has actually turned up. So it's between quarter theory and that pitchfork. So I'm not really liking the look of that for a trade until it decides whether it's going to. So that could be, for me, that's either, so I'll be looking at it because it's at the moment, it's either got to get back above to go sort of up towards that next point again, or it's going to reject off there and come down here. And usually price will move between levels. So if it goes down to there, that's 20 pips. So I'll put, for my note, GU, trend line, pitchfork, trend line, at, like that, 1.71728 or thereabouts, depending on what your pointy bits show you. If it's above that, above for a buy, and if it's down at or quarter theory, but just think of that as one of your pointy bits, support and resistance at 1.71500. So is it going to, you know, is it going to go up here and reject off down for a, is it going to be below that pitchfork, below for a sell, back down to 1.71500? But you can just put your indicator on, think about these two areas of support and resistance, and I'll move that up to here, and that's just on the 5-minute. Now you haven't got a lot of range there, but that's the kind of thing I'd be looking at on that currency pair, because it's got to make its mind up there one way or the other, and it is a downward scan, remember. So generally speaking, the trend is your friend. So generally that is a sell scan, but don't let that bias you. In fact, technically, I think I should only be looking at that for a sell, because unless it hits the median, which just gives more chance of success. But that's just on, I learned the strategy before we had the I'm not going to go all the way back through to see the median. Will be, these are the, so that's 1, 2, the median will be further down here because it's a dotted line I've got for the first one, so I know the median's a solid one, the next one down. So that's GCAD. AN, nothing happening there. I've marked it up at these levels. It's on some old trend lines, pointy bits, support and resistance, whatever you want to call them, at the moment. And I can't remember if it was an upward scan or not, but it's in. That's a very big one at the moment. I can't remember where my most recent scan was on this. It must have come outside. I don't know why I haven't got the pitchfork on there. Sometimes, oh, I know what I've done. That's the second pitchfork that we drew because of where price was last time I looked at this pair. I don't often trade this pair because it's a similar pair to me, AN, the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar. So I think at the moment, when was that D point? 30th of, and I haven't looked at the scanner this morning. So it's in a strong downward scan. Let's go back to 15 minutes. So I'm not going to dwell on AN too much because they're not in session. These are Asian session pairs. So at the moment it's heading back up to here. So I'd probably look at it somewhere around about here. See what it's doing when it comes up to there, and I'll take that one off. So I haven't got a lot to report on that one. It's not something I'd probably be looking at too much in this session. I'll just put the indicator on. I won't change the candles. See what that tells us. That says it's at the outer range of the Bollinger Bands on the 15-minute. The SARs have flipped, but you want to have these on bigger orange ones. No, sorry, wrong one. Oh, they are on. You had a buy there, so it still says it's in buy mode on the 50-minute, but on the 15-minute it is at the outer edge of the Bollinger Bands, and it's on an old line of support and resistance. So again, this one looks like it's just jogging along there at the moment. Yeah, so it's coming to the top for a turn, but you'll have to, if you want that for a sell, you'll have to look at put your indicator on and how much range you've got. But it's an Asian session pair, so we'll come off that one. What have we got next? GBP, JPY. I'm on the 15-minute, so this is a downward scan. The trend is your friend. It's now just hit the median, which means I'll take it for a buy or a sell. It rejected off quarter theory then. It seems to be coming back up. I didn't find a lot. In fact, I drew this pitchfork on. This is the second pitchfork because I didn't have a new scan on this. So it depends whether, you know, whether you want to trade this. That's GCAD going off. Just, I did try and put some trend lines on earlier on. So I don't have a lot on GBP, JPY at the moment. It's not one I'm interested in trading. It's kind of halfway in the middle of these second pitchforks that I've drawn. But it is a downward scan, and it is selling. It is a downward 62, but it is retouching that quarter theory and rejecting off it. So if you did want to look at that, then put your indicator on and your other indicators, and I'd be saying it's because it's touching the pitchfork, it's touching the quarter theory. If it doesn't break through 1.142 flat, if it doesn't break upwards of that, and look at it on your lower time frame, then it'll go back down, and there's 50 pips there, but it doesn't mean you'll get the 50 pips because you've got you need to look at your support and resistance between that line and that line there, which is 20 pips to that second pitchfork thereabouts. So I'll put trend line, pitchfork, 20 pips. So look at it from that basis. Okay, so we'll just have a look at GCAD that just went off. Oh, I thought I had it up there. CAD. So it's just loading. French are cranking up their network for me. This is a downward scan. I put the Hikanashi on, so I must have been looking at this one for you earlier on. So a downward scan. The alert's gone off because that's on the 15-minute. I was looking to see what would happen below the pitchfork. I don't think I've set my alert quite right. I'll have to come to the 1 minute. Yes, I did on the 1 minute. Downward scan. It is showing we need to go up to the 5 or the 15-minute in order to take a trade on BYOB. So it's heading up, but we've got it on the I'll take that alert off now. We've got it, just get that there. It is saying it's, we'll go up a time frame in a minute. It is overbought on, this is the 1 minute though. And I'm interested in the fact it's right at the outer edge of the Bollinger Bands and it's stalling on this line of support and resistance. The SAR hasn't flipped yet, but that's looking quite good, I think, for a sell, possibly. That says buy, halfway up for a buy, but you're on the 50 line and the 62 of the, in the Bollinger Bands. That's your purple line if you've got the indicator. So if price has gone back to the 50, that's often where we will put our exit manager on and cash out half our profits, leaving the rest to run. I don't tend to do that because I kind of think, well, either I'm in a trade or I'm not. I don't tend to do these big longer trades. It probably works best on that. I don't know. I have got it on my system, but it's not something that I use these days. So on the, we're halfway up, so technically we wouldn't take it because it's in the purple box and we want it to be in the extreme. We want it to be oversold. So it's saying buy, and because it's up to the 50, you need to look at how many pips now that you've got between here and quarter theory, or the outer, which correlates with the outer edge of the Bollinger Band. So you've got 20 pips there. I'll go up to the 15 minutes. So I'll put buy up to, these are just my notes, quarter theory, because it says there's 20 pips there. And we'll look at the 15 minute. Now that's saying buy. I think that's a, it's got the SAR flip. It's got a wick on it. That's the only thing, but you have got a flat bottom candle. It is oversold. It is in the extreme. You haven't got it at 45 degrees and it's only just sort of turning. Ideally you want a bit of a gap and you want it coming down nicely like that. But that does look to me like it is a buy on the 15 minute up to, have a look at it. If you are going to get in, BYOB 15 minute buy, it's up to you. Then you've got the SAR flip, so we'll look at, you've got pips to this line of support and resistance. You've got 5 pips, so depending on your lot size after spread and commission, you've got to decide whether you think that's worth it, because at 1.71828 or thereabouts, because I drew this pitchfork, remember, so you know, take that as you wish. You know, price has then got to make its mind up what it wants to do, you know, whether it's going to carry on up. Usually price will, you know, if it breaks through, it'll go up to that next level, like it did there. No guarantees it's going to do that again, but if it does, then there's another 17 pips. So from that line of support and resistance up to quarter theory is plus 17 pips. So those are the kind of judgments that I make looking at a trade. You do need to apply your own judgment, what you think, but you have got, you can see how the 62 and the 50 are right on that quarter theory up there. But that, so this is saying GCAD, Great British Pound, is stronger than the Canadian dollar, but the one that we looked at before, where USD in 20 minutes, American dollar, has got some news, was, you know, they're both downward scans. So GBP has been selling against those other two currencies. So you have to decide how much volume there is in it and how much strength and what time of day you're trading will affect movement of pairs. Okay. So that's GCAD, and I'll just hide that. I'll just put it back. So I clean it up a bit so I can just have one last look. This is on the 15-minute. So on the 15-minute, we've still got it in buy mode with the 62 above it. There's an equal low down there. Something else I use, which is Lazy Man's highs and lows. Just click of a button. So according to the highs and lows, it's a downward trend. So you've got a bit of a mixed message. You'll have to make your own mind up on that. If I go to the 1 minute, see what the pivots are doing. So it's kind of stalling at the moment, and it's stalling. It doesn't like that pitchfork level. It is above the 62, so it's not deciding what it wants to do at all, really, to me. So that is a key point if you believe my pitchforks. But even if they're off a bit, if you're on BYOB, you can make your own decision. But here you've still got lower highs and you've got lower lows, and you've got some equal lows there. So and how much did it break through from that, if my pitchfork's to be believed? And it also did a break of over 10 pips off that second pitchfork I've drawn, which says to me it wants to push on downwards. So I think it's more going for a sell than a buy. So I wouldn't be taking that because it just doesn't really look that great to me. Okay, so USD CAD we don't want to get involved with because of the news. That was one of the other trades I did the other day. I like this. I like looking at this one because it's got two very strong lines of support and resistance at 1.3. This is USD CAD at 1.32 flat, and the pitchfork are together, which is why I had the alert there. But I didn't get into this, but this was very appealing to me. And you can see it's now just testing the 62. But that's looking nice for a sell, but don't get into it at the moment because of the news. Need to look at it later if you're interested in it. Just close that one, just aware of time. Euro NZD. That's just because quarter theory its price is hitting quarter theory, and it makes TradingView go crazy. So I'll go to the 15-minute. It's a downward scan. It's ignore this one here. Sorry to confuse. Don't want to confuse anyone. Just fade it out a bit more. It doesn't, it should be coming down anyway. It doesn't like quarter theory. The 62 is still above. EN. But if we look at the 1 minute instant time, then it has broken through quarter theory, and it looks like the 62, it did cross, it did actually cross, but it looks like it wants to cross back up. And it is quite a fast moving pair. So I had the alert set down here because normally I'd get in to ping off the pitchfork. Don't just get into a trade because you see the candles are moving, by the way. It's no point. That's a big scan. So that's, then I wouldn't mind looking at it at this sort of point. Let's go to the 5 minute and put our indicator on. I'll take that off for the moment. I can always add it on later. Uh, 5 minutes, so put our candles on. Put the SARS on. It's flipped to the buy, but do remember we're at a very strong line of support and resistance. Don't just press the button because you see that. No need to panic in trading. There's a lot of money in trading, a lot of trades. Just the market varies seasonally, and Monday and Fridays are slower. Bigger pip range, Tuesday to Thursdays normally. So we can see it's coming back to the top on the 5 minute on the stochastic. I'll put on the indicator, and that is saying buy, but you wouldn't want to get into that. This is where your pointy bits matter, your lines of support and resistance, however you're using them. You can look at previous lows, previous highs. If you've got a paid version of TradingView, you can stick pivots on. Sorry, it looks very busy, just the way the currency is, the chart. See if I can get that a bit bigger for you. It's stalling out at that line of support and resistance. It's near the top, so really you want to wait for a SAR flip for a sell. It is a downward scan, so have a look at this. This is EN Euro NZD. Have a look at that at 1.68500, which is your line, quarter theory, strong line of support and resistance, and see if it's going to reject off that. And then in that case, you're looking for it to go down to, you've got 25 pips there to, this is an accurate pitchfork, not one of mine. Although I think mine is accurate because you do a best fit and you'd have touch points to look at, and I did all that. 1.68224 or thereabouts, 220, 224 or something. So you can have a look for that for a sell after it's decided what it's doing at quarter theory. But it's quite a fast moving pair. You do have to look at what your stop loss is going to be. You need your stop loss to cover your previous high or low, depending on how you're working them out. And you do need your risk to reward to be sensible, really. You don't want a 40 pip stop loss to make 5 pips, for example. So, you know, try and keep the ratio sensible. So nothing else for me to report on EN. Got 10 minutes left. NZD JPY. Right in the middle of nowhere for me on that one. I'm waiting for it to come back up into the D point, if indeed it's going to do that. So no trading for me on that at the moment. It's into extensions of an old pitchfork that's up here. Just think of those as trend lines when I say pitchfork. So nothing I want to be doing with that at the moment myself, because I trade off the Harmonic scanner, and it's coming down into the extensions. Oh, did I not put the extensions on? Just check the settings. Oh, I don't want that one on. Well, they must be somewhere. Let me look on the 15-minute. There they are. So price is right down at quarter theory. So it should, but who knows in trading, it should be, I'm going to make a note of that, NZDJPY. I don't know any more than you do, whether it's going to do this. So it's 70.100, which is quarter theory. It doesn't look like it's liking that, but it's gone back up. It's on the 62 at the moment in an old pitchfork, so I just want to wait for it to come up to around, if you start to look at it at 71.70, cross that out, 71.5 is where I want to be setting my alert and looking at it. So what I'll do is I'll probably move my alert to make it a straight line one along that line of support and resistance. So I should be doing that later. So I'll put move alert on there. CAD, JPY, USD, GA. Let's look at GA the last few minutes. So GA, I didn't get in this because I was busy doing something else. And as you can see, that would have been quite nice. I think I'm not sure if I posted that one. A couple I managed to post in my group to say these were set up. So the 62 crossed under. It was a downward scan. I can't remember what other confirmations I put on this. Whether I put, actually I didn't get into this. I marked it up. And I was looking at it. But I wasn't sure I had enough confirmations, but it has gone the 20. So let's have a look at this with the indicator. That's right, I marked it up, but it was between pitchforks trend lines, so I didn't like that, so I put my alert down there. But in fact, it did do the 20, but I wasn't sure about that, so I was just playing around with it. So no regrets. You've got to follow your confirmations, be comfortable with what you're doing. So we'll put the Hikanashi on. It's coming back down into the D scan, D point, that line there. SAR flip. And the stochastic. Stochastic saying it's in the purple box halfway, so there's no trade, it's not in the extreme. And we'll go put the, and that's saying buy. So we could look at how many pips we've got on this. So we've got very small volume on the candles. It's saying it's got a flat bottom. They have got constricted, the Bollinger Bands, but between there and the 50 line, you've got about, there's 13 pips, so you have got 10 pips there. But remember, you're halfway up already, and have you got a good pattern? You know, have you got good sort of volume in the candles? So let's just put this on here, and you can see there's not much volume. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Let's go backwards. That puts it back on. No. Oh yeah, thank goodness. You haven't got, it's because I've got indicators coming down the screen. If we magnify it, you can see how it's now a doji candle. It's not got a lot of strength in it at all, and you can see that reflected down in the stochastic as well. So I wouldn't be taking that for a buy at the moment. Seems quite flat, doesn't it, this session? Yesterday was good, as you know. Bouncing along the bottom on the 15-minute. No SAR flip yet. And you want a bit more strength in it as well. So look for that, possibly for a buy, but doesn't look great to me. So NZD, CAD, USD, JPY. We'll just finish off with this last one, I think. We've got the news coming up. So with USD, JPY at the moment, we don't want to be trading it. It's along this strong line. Let's have a look at the 5-minute. It's an upward scan. It's rejected off quarter theory, but I don't know what news is going to do to it. That's about 10 pips rejection. So a break and a retest off the quarter theory above the 62, but that's still trying to, you know, fight its way up, but it doesn't like quarter theory. So normally that means it will want to work its way somewhere back up there. There's about 8 or 10 pips there. But we don't want to be, as we know, we don't want to be trading that at the moment. That's Euro CAD's just gone off. Euro CAD, closed that, didn't I? Right, we'll finish off by looking to see what Euro CAD's doing. And then Sharon's on next. Euro CAD. She does a great session with the BYOB, and then Les will be on at 7 p.m. UK time. I strongly recommend you get on Les's session. Very good on the Harmonic scanner and with understanding the strategic manipulation that the banks make of the markets and how you can circumvent that. Right, what has happened with EuroCAD? It's loading. That's it. So it's turned and it's saying sell, but look, it's still in the purple box. So not a great trade on BYOB on the 5-minute. On the 15-minute, it's saying it's oversold and it wants to buy. So it's just stalling along that range then. So it's saying it's overbought and wants to sell on the 5-minute, but on the 15-minute, it's saying oversold and it wants to be buying. So that says it's sort of consolidating to me. So although the alert's gone off because I look at it in terms of what it's going to do at that pitchfork, at the moment it's stalling out. That may well move later. I like it when it stalls out because that means price has to make a decision. If it does make a decision, this is a downward scan, then you've got 17, so you've got say 10 to 15 pips on EuroCAD. I'll be looking at that for a sell down to 1.45. Okay, so that's everything. I'm going to stop the share. Thank you very much for joining, and I'll just have a quick look at the chat. Loving the background music. Thank you very much. Yeah, I put my jazz on for everyone, so I thought it keeps us calm, nice and calm. So thanks for joining, and I hope you enjoyed the session. So we'll see how those play out, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Sarah, thank you.
You're welcome. Stop the recording. Bye.